So my dog got sprayed by a skunk the other night, and it's an awful experience. I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through it, and I know for myself I never want to go through it again. So I went on YouTube to do some research. Lots of YouTube videos on what to do after your dog gets sprayed, on how to clean them up and that sort of thing. Not so much on how to avoid uh, getting sprayed again. So this video will deal with that. And in order to do that, I had to do some research on skunk behavior. That's coming up next. So how to avoid getting your dog sprayed. Here are the key facts about skunks that I found pertinent to this subject matter. So first of all, as you've probably noticed if you've seen them wandering around, they are slow and awkward. Didn't know, but they do have poor sight. They can see motion and blurry things, but not so good a sight. But they do have good hearing and smell as well, of course, to find their food. So in reality, internet reports say that they can spray somewhere between 10 and 23 feet, although 10 to 15 is probably more likely without a wind. And the really important point is they do not want to spray. Obviously, they'd rather not get that stink on themselves. They would rather find a way to get away, and they will demonstrate that very much so. They'll try to stand off their threat and that sort of thing. So the other key thing is, though, that they will spray if they're startled. So if you came up and startled one by chance, there's a good chance that they'll turn and spray right away. And sorry, but that's an ugly thing. And the other thing, of course, is that mostly they wander at night, although there are daytime sightings and occurrences. But certainly in my neighborhood, we see them at night. So here are three strategies for dealing with these little critters. One, the obvious one, is you can kill them. That's against the law in my municipality, and it's somewhat difficult to do because of the spray anyways. And I have been told that the next strategy is much better, and that is simply to trap them with a humane trap and relocate them. Now, in my municipality, we can only relocate them 1 kilometer away from our home, which isn't very far, because they don't want the spread of the diseases that a local colony would have. So, but that's a way to get them from repeating coming into your yard. And the third strategy is to live and let live. Just stay away from the critters. Now that we know that they only spray a certain amount of feet, and they're not willing to spray unless they have to, it's with a little bit of precaution, you can just keep your distance and stay away. And I'll talk about that in a few minutes. So this little video shows what not to do. Here we have a small dog who has found a skunk in the daytime, which is unusual. But the video will show us just how the skunk is making every effort not to spray. They don't want to spray. They want to stand off or chase off the threat. And this video goes on longer than this, but I showed you a few clips of how much opportunity this skunk gave them to just let him get away. And so pretty silly what goes on. The owner's allowing the dog to jump in there, thinking it's better to make a video of it. And I don't think that's very wise myself. So here we go. It goes on, and notice that the skunk has got his tail up, but he's got the tail towards the camera and not ready to spray. So the skunk almost gets away, makes it over to this fence, and he doesn't give up. So eventually he turns and sprays the dog, and now we see the poor dog with the awful, awful experience of being sprayed, and now the owner is going to have to deal with a stinky dog. So this is how to avoid getting sprayed. The most vulnerable spot is when your dog needs to go out for a pee at night. You can hear her walking right there. So you got to take her out. And we got sprayed because we let her out in the backyard, and she investigated a skunk, and the skunk let her have it. So that's not the best idea. So the best strategy is skunks don't see very well, and they don't like light. So what I do is light the porch up, give her the skunk a minute to adjust and get away from the light, and then put my dog on the leash. And the idea of staying on the leash is if she does see a skunk, she'll run over to investigate, and that would be a disastrous formula. So instead of having her on the leash, I can keep her close to me. So a few important details to understand. A skunk can only spray, some reports say 10 feet, some say 23 feet. We know a skunk will only spray as a last resort, and so the strategy here on the dog walk is to give that skunk all the distance they may need so that they don't feel the need to spray. So here we are walking out, dog's on the leash, go across the street to a well-lit area, keeping an eye out for the skunk. Dog does her business, we head on back, keeping an eye out again. The porch is well lit, and inside we go. Lights out, say goodnight.